welcome in this evening. I'm Lizzie Arbogast, sports editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, alongside managing editor Santana Wood. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. So good
I,
to see you.
I actually learned something really interesting about Kyle Caldwell today as a former Dadeville football player, so you should read my story in the Outlook tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I've read it yet.
Oh, I've known him, right. But I meant y'all, the readers, the listeners, the viewers.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Really good story, though. Really is.
I'm intrigued by it. I've known this man for 3 years and didn't know anything about him.
Super interesting.
That. Anyway, we are here to not talk about sports, actually. We're here to give you guys some latest updates, coronavirus and otherwise. I do want to thank our sponsor, Russell Medical Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate, all of our listeners and viewers this evening.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all for tuning in and coming for the latest updates. Tonight, we really want to talk about first children's safety during the pandemic. Really important to talk about, I feel like. Everyone has been instructed to stay home. We're still under this safer at home order, but many parents are finding it hard to keep their kids active while still allowing them to play outside on playgrounds with other children.
Yeah, so one of the things that obviously we've talked about is the key to slowing down the spread of COVID-19 is just limiting as much contact as possible. So when you are on the playground, you're out there, you're touching the same surfaces that other kids have touched, things like that. So there are some guidelines that we've got about how long those virus and germs and things can stick onto surfaces.
Yeah, so this is according to the New England Journal of Medicine, a study that they did. And according to their study, plastic stays on surfaces for 8 hours, and only 10% of the virus was still there after those 8 hours, but it did not become detectable until after 72 hours. So really interesting.
Yeah, so in stainless steel, the numbers started to plummet after just 4 hours and became undetectable after 48 hours. Copper was undetectable after 8 hours, and cardboard undetectable after 48 hours.
Yeah, so really interesting study there. And UAB expert Dr. Samishka Rout said that, I might have butchered her name, but she is an expert at UAB. And she said that kids are constantly moving from one part of the playground to another and are really prone to touching their faces as well. So if they touch an object with the coronavirus, the chances of getting infected are high. Very important to remember that they may not experience symptoms, but they do act as active carriers.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have talked about is that, children can't get sick, which we know is not true, but also that, yes, the percentage is much lower. But like you said, that they can be those active carriers and then, give it to someone else.
Especially someone who may be vulnerable, like their grandparents or an older person with an older person to them with some sort of underlying medical condition. But I think the most important thing to take away from this is just to limit that contact as much as possible. Do what you can to entertain your children without going to somewhere that is really heavily populated with other children and other people in order to minimize that exposure.
Yeah, and of course that there are, great resources online about activities that you can do with your kids, whether they be outdoors or arts and crafts or, things like that, to get them that activity that they need. Obviously, kids have a lot more energy than the rest of us sometimes. So, make sure that they're finding a way to do that, but also to do it safely.
Yeah, so we do want to give y'all an update on the latest coronavirus numbers across the state and locally. As of 6:30 p.m. tonight, there are now over 9,000 confirmed cases in the state. This is 9,046 reported positive cases statewide since they started reporting them from Alabama Department of Public Health. And that's an increase of 355 since last night.
Yeah, I do want to mention that I believe that is the highest one-day increase that we've seen throughout the state. So it's important to keep in mind that those numbers do not seem to be following the trend that we had hoped for in terms of flattening that curve. In fact, it does seem to be going up at least these last couple of days. Also, there are 369 reported deaths, which is also a one-day increase of 26 since our show last evening.
Also, there have been 116,319 people tested since March 13th. Important to keep that testing number in mind as well. Locally, Tallapoosa County has 314 confirmed positive cases of the coronavirus, which is an increase of 10 from our show last night. Also saw quite a jump in the number of deaths.
Yeah, this is really scary, actually. An increase of 17 deaths in Tallapoosa County since last night, now at 40. Again, we've talked a lot about that Bill Nichols number and how much that's affecting that. And maybe those numbers are just now getting to the Department of Public Health. It's really hard to tell. But again, it's one of those things where you got to keep those precautions going. Over in Elmore County, also another increase of 6 since last night with 127 confirmed cases and 4 deaths, which is also an increase of 1.
And Coosa County still has 31 confirmed cases and still 1 death. So no change in Coosa County since our last show and update earlier today.
Yeah, so we are going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, and we'll be back to talk some local news.
At Russell Medical Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine, we want you to know we're open. We take COVID-19 seriously and have put precautions in place for the safety and health of our patients. Don't delay treatment. Wound duration lasting more than 30 days is less likely to heal naturally. We treat all types of wounds, cuts, and burns, so intervene early. Wound care is critical. Call us today.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Lizzie Arbogast, sports editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, alongside managing editor Santana Wood. Appreciate our sponsor, Russell Medical Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine. Always enjoy hearing from them each evening. I do want to dig into some Tallapoosa County news for the night.
Yeah, so good news in Tallapoosa County. Benjamin Russell art teacher Penny Admonson was named the Benjamin Russell 2019-20 Teacher of the Year, and she got a little bit of a front yard surprise. Dr. Anthony Wilkinson and Assistant Principal Tracy McGee, along with Assistant Principal Jason Deason and Officer Brian Ray, surprised her at her home in the police car with lights and sirens, gave her flowers and a sign, and that was just really good to see.
Yeah, the top 10 seniors at Benjamin Russell were also honored. Typically the high school does a senior awards day ceremony kind of thing. Weren't able to do that this year, so it was kind of a way for those principals to honor the teacher and the students as well. So that was great to see.
Definitely. You can read more about those in tomorrow's Outlook as well. Also, some Elmore County news tonight. The Eclectic Planning Commission met tonight to discuss rezoning property located at Central and Madix Roads for residential and commercial use. And Mayor Gary Davenport said that this is the first of 2 meetings required to take place before the commission may vote. The plans call for around 120 homes ranging from $170,000 to several $100,000. So interesting to see what's coming together over there in Eclectic.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you, check out the WetumpkaHerald.com for more information on that. We always want to end on a feel-good note. Nice to have some good news these times. We definitely need them. It is National Teacher Appreciation Week. With schools closed, obviously, due to COVID-19, Tallahassee City Schools held a teacher appreciation to-go lunch and parade for their teachers earlier this week. It just, another sign of appreciation. Several students came out to celebrate their teachers. And, we're always amazed at how creative people have gotten during this time to show how much they care about each other, donating to each other, appreciating each other. All those things are really great to see.
Definitely. And, it's also been Nurses Week and Teacher Appreciation Week. Just a great time to recognize these people who are so important, hold really important professions. And we, just wouldn't be the same without those folks. So we really appreciate them ourselves as well. And as always, we want to thank y'all for trusting us as your local news source, for tuning in tonight. We will continue to be here each weeknight at 7 p.m. to deliver you the latest news. And we appreciate y'all. Again, I'm Santana Wood, managing editor, alongside Lizzie Arbogast, sports editor. Y'all have a good night.